As COVID-19 takes its toll on Nigeria and other parts of the world, Presidential Task Force devises more measures to curtail its spread. Nigerian governors advocate complete lockdown in all states to stop the spread of coronavirus.
We have just handed over rice now, 5 tons of rice. A gesture by Mr. President Muhammad Buhari as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
More palliatives to cushion the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on the less privileged people. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Kene Ima Abodike. Reading with me tonight is Dotun in Lagos. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says the coronavirus pandemic is fast becoming a human rights crisis as it calls on governments to ensure that health care is available and accessible to all people. Joyce Ometu gives us an overview of the pandemic worldwide.
As at 11:25 p.m. 22nd of April, Nigeria recorded a total of 873 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. 28 people have died, while 197 infected people have been discharged. The recent figures reported by the NCDC show that Lagos is the epicenter of the virus in Nigeria, with 504 cases. FCT has a total of 119, Kano 73, Oyo and Edo has 17 each. 3 in Rivers, Sokoto and Adamawa has 1 case each. Meanwhile, a tally by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. showed that the African continent as a whole registers 26,870 confirmed cases of COVID-19, 1,247 deaths and 7,434 recoveries. And Ethiopia recorded no new case of COVID-19 for the first time since April 2. The country has a total of 116 infections, 3 deaths, and 21 recoveries. Away from Africa, a record by Johns Hopkins University as at 6 p.m. indicated that global infection from COVID-19 has reached 2,672,133, while the death toll stood at 186,912. More than 700,000 infected people have recovered. And Spain has seen a slight rise in fatalities as it recorded 440 deaths in the past 24 hours, bringing the national death toll to 22,157. In Italy, the coronavirus death toll has surpassed 25,000. The total number of infections is now 187,327. Meanwhile, China has reported an 8th consecutive day of no new coronavirus deaths, but there were 10 new positive tests in the last 24 hours. The country also says it had 6 new imported cases. And that's it from here. Many thanks for staying. I am Joyce Ometu.
Thank you, Joyce. Now, a little bit away from COVID-19, Sultan of Sokoto Mohammed Saad Abubakar III has announced the sighting of the crescent, signaling the commencement of the Ramadan fasting beginning from Friday, 1st Ramadan, 24th April, 2020.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In accordance with Islamic law, we have the pleasure to announce that today, Thursday, the 29th day of Shaban, 1441 after the hijrah of our most noble leader, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which is equivalent 23rd April 2020, marked the end of Shaban 1441 after Hijrah. Reliable reports of moon sighting were received from Muslim leaders and organizations across the country, which were duly verified and authenticated by us, the states and national moon sighting committees. Consequently, tomorrow, Friday, 24th April 2020, becomes the first day of Ramadan 1441 after Hijrah, inshallah.
That was the Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Saad Abubakar III. Now let's return to COVID-19. The Presidential Task Force on the COVID-19 has directed the Nigeria Center for Disease Control to immediately dispatch an enhanced rapid response team to intensify contact tracing in Kano State. Chairman of the task force, Boz Mustafa, says this is to stop the Asian city from becoming the next epicenter of coronavirus in Nigeria. Metai Reiben reports.
As Nigeria battles COVID-19, Kano State is in the eye of the storm. This follows reports of multiple deaths and mass burials, the cause of which the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the state authorities are yet to unravel, even as the state grapples with increasing cases of COVID-19.
The situation in Kano is still being assessed and monitored closely. Necessary steps are taken in conjunction with the state government to contain the spread of the pandemic in Kano and stop the city from becoming the next epicenter.
We'll carry out control measures and see if it's an infectious disease, if it's COVID, if it's something else. These are things that are now happening in Kano. And I think you'll see the results over the next few days.
Additional lab equipments have also been sent to Kano yesterday, but the Kano lab at the moment is closed for the next few days while fumigation and disinfection is ongoing.
The high number of new cases is a manifestation of more efficient testing, but also of ongoing community transmission.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs was particularly unhappy with reports of discriminatory treatment meted out to some Nigerians in China on account of COVID-19.
We are seeing videos, I have received reports, and we've told them it's unacceptable. In addition, I have directed the consulate in Guangzhou to systematically detail every single case of discrimination and every single case of loss or damage suffered by any Nigerian. And we will pursue each and every single one very robustly with the Chinese government.
The delay in the commencement of evacuation of interested Nigerians living abroad was attributed to issues of funding and other logistics, which the task force says are being sorted out. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Now, President Muhammad Buhari has called on fellow ECOWAS leaders to look beyond the challenges posed by the COVID-19 and tap into various opportunities that it presents for the betterment of lives in member countries. Speaking at an extraordinary ECOWAS summit on COVID-19 held via teleconferencing, President Buhari called for more collaboration to save the region from the deadly pandemic through sharing of experiences and best practices. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
In every situation, such as this current coronavirus pandemic, there are opportunities, and that is quoting President Muhammadu Buhari, who is urging other African leaders to seek these opportunities by implementing critical policies that before now look difficult to accept.
Regarding public finances, revenues are declining drastically due to the fall in commodity prices. At the same time, government continues to spend massively on the containment of the virus. Medical care for those infected and minimizing the impact of the crisis on the poor and vulnerable. This situation puts severe pressure on our finances by increasing our expenditures and dwindling revenues. This invariably has led to a restructuring and reduction of our budget.
The president outlined some measures Nigeria has taken in response to the pandemic, which include the reduction of interest rates on all applicable Central Bank of Nigeria interventions from 9% to 5%, inauguration of Presidential Task Force to coordinate national efforts to combat the spread of the virus and ensure efficiency and effectiveness in line with the Nigerian action plans on health security, and the provision of relief materials, including medical and food, as well as conditional cash transfer to the poor and vulnerable households. The president informs the summit further that more isolation centers and testing facilities have been established to contain the spread of the virus.
We should also explore opportunities to promote strong, dynamic agricultural policies that will guarantee food security for our people, creating jobs and reducing poverty in the region. We must innovate and use technology to boost the digital economy and do things differently but better.
The president reiterates Nigerians' commitment to the well-being of the people of the sub-region, and also restates support for initiatives arising from the summit to curb the spread of the pandemic. President Muhammadu Buhari expresses sadness over the loss of lives and condoles those that have lost loved ones, and as well wishes those on sick bed good health. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has been elected to lead other leaders in the West Africa sub-region in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. The decision was taken at an extraordinary summit by the Economic Community of West African States held via teleconferencing. Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, speaks more on the appointment.
That COVID-19 has posed to economies in West Africa was discussed back and forth, and there were articulations of what to do to combat COVID and what to do post-COVID, which is very important. That is what is expected of leadership, to think ahead. So the West African leaders discussed how to tackle the period of COVID-19 and what to do post-COVID. Now, at the end of it all, it was decided that there should be a champion who will lead the response of the sub-region. And that champion is President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria. So our president is going to lead the response of West Africa to the challenge of COVID-19.
The Economic Sustainability Committee held its fourth meeting this Thursday with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo presiding. At the meeting, 3 subcommittees filed in report for review. The Economic Sustainability Committee now meets almost on daily basis, and this is to hasten the preparation of final reports to be submitted to the President for approval. Minister of State for Budget and National Planning speaks more on the meeting.
These subcommittees are the costing committee on the forthcoming sustainability plan, because we want to put numbers to the various programs that we are doing. There's a job creation committee. They also made a report. And then the third committee has to do with how to gradually reopen the economy. These 3 committees are still doing further work. Based on the meetings we had today. By the time they finalize, we'll be making the presentations and getting approvals.
State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that the minister assured that the committee would complete its assignment in the next couple of weeks. China is scaling up efforts for a new image on the world stage in the fight against coronavirus as the Asian nation increases assistance and donations of medical supplies to COVID-19 affected countries, including Nigeria. The latest of the supplies comes from China General Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria. Usman Aliyu tells us more.
Chinese support to Nigeria comes amid worrying rise in the number of infections registered in recent days across states. With the efforts by the federal and state governments in adopting sweeping measures to contain community transmission, the demand for medical equipment are increasingly needed at this moment. The Chinese government this time, through its Chamber of Commerce, donated respirators and surgical masks, gloves, gowns, goggles, infrared thermometers and shoes to Nigeria.
Despite the daunting task remaining at home, China firmly supports Nigeria's fight against the outbreak and stands ready to assist, if needed, to the best of its ability.
And in this war against the virus, we should protect each other and we should assist each other.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 says Nigeria identifies with China for its rapid response and transparency exhibited in fighting the pandemic.
You have also provided us with assistance, technical assistance in terms of manpower. Nigeria is very grateful for this. The PTF is very grateful.
Nigeria is also asking for more post-COVID-19 interventions to jumpstart the economy. In Abuja, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
The Nigeria Governors Forum is sustaining far-reaching measures in curbing the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the commitment was strengthened during the forum's 6th teleconference meeting.
In a 7-paragraphs communique issued at the end of the 6th teleconference meeting, the forum resolved to sustain partnership with federal government, multilateral organizations, and the private sectors across 25 states to contain the ravaging COVID-19 with emphasis on community response to transmission. The forum also resolved to work closely with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control to ensure adequate supply of personal protective equipment to prevent the lives of those in the front line of the fight against the pandemic. The Governors Forum, through its chairman and governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, says a strategic partnership with the Presidential Task Force will be sustained and also agreed to the implementation of interstate lockdown to mitigate spread of the virus. The forum commiserated with President Muhammadu Buhari and the country over the demise of the Chief of Staff, late Malam Abakari, and others who lost their lives from the deadly virus and observed a mini silence in repose of their souls. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And worried by the increasing cases of COVID-19, the Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, is donating 72 motorized fumigation machines to the 36 states of Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory, to support the efforts at combating the pandemic. Correspondent Dayo Ogunshola reports that the machines were inaugurated in Ife Town, Osun State.
Fumigation motorized machine capable of fumigating 2 kilometers radius within 20 minutes is locally built in Ile-Ife to augment government's effort to combat coronavirus pandemic in all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. The modular fumigation machines were test run within the palace before the fumigation of major streets in the ancient city of Ile-Ife. Oba Ogunwusi emphasized the need for more innovative ways of fighting the scourge of coronavirus pandemic.
Way and manner fumigation is being done. It has actually become a global mockery. What is being done in the Western world. Put all the youths together, maintain all the rules and regulation, and we started fabricating this. We have now decided to give it for free to all the 36 states of this country.
The monarch urged Nigerians to use the current lockdown to come up with ideas that could curb the scourge of coronavirus.
As Muslims begin Ramadan fast tomorrow, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent his best wishes to Muslims in the country and all over the world as they begin this year's 30-day fast following the sighting of the moon. President Buhari described Ramadan 2020 as a challenge, falling as it did in the period of the global pandemic, which has spread to more than 200 nations, with virtually all countries advising citizens to avoid large gatherings and have their prayers and meals individually or with family at home. In a statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President urged Muslims to endure and not to use coronavirus as an excuse not to participate in the Ramadan fast unless such abstention is warranted by the excuses clearly outlined by health and religious authorities. Condolences have come in for President Muhammad Buhari from heads of state and government, including well-meaning Nigerians. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
In a message from President Paul Biya of Cameroon, he commiserated with Kyari family and shared the pains of the loss of a close confidant was President Buhari. He told the president, "I can feel your pains following the death of your close ally." The president also received condolence messages from the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps in Nigeria through the High Commissioner of Cameroon to Nigeria, Salahuddin Abbas Ibrahim, Nigeria High Commissioner to the UK, Justice George Oguntade, retired, and the United Arab Emirates Ambassador to Nigeria, Dr. Fahd Al-Tafaq. Similarly, the former National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Chief John Ewegun, prayed God Almighty to fill the void the absence of the deceased has created. He recalled his past interactions with Malam Kyari as pleasant and productive experiences. To achieve, His Royal Majesty Professor James Ayasi also joined other traditional rulers in condoling with President Muhammad Buhari, while the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, Amasco International Limited, Association of Motor Dealers in Nigeria, Orobo Progressive Union, including former Senate leader Senator Victor Ndoma Egba, former head of Civil Service of the Federation, Professor Oladipo Afolabi, and Senior Pastor Trinity House Itua Igadolo sent their separate condolence messages to President Buhari. In the same vein, St. Paul's Zaria Old Boys Association, SPOBA, eulogized their late old boy Abba Kyari as a trusted technocrat. The National Secretary Idris Muhammad Farouk Jr. recalled that Kyari was consistently close to his classmates even on their social media platform days before his major health challenge. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission has also described Malam Abba Kyari as a seasoned technocrat, hardworking, and a true nationalist. Its chairman, Alias Mbang, said Malam Kyari left good legacies. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Let's take a break now. We'll be back shortly.
This is not a joke. It is a matter of life and death. Mosques in Mecca and Medina have been closed. The Pope celebrated Mass on an empty St. Peter's Square. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris held Easter Mass with less than 10 people. India, Italy, and France are in complete lockdown. Other countries are in the process of following suit. We cannot be lax.
stay-home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
Improved household hygiene is essential to keep your family safe. Did you know that the sodium hypochlorite, the active ingredient in hypo bleach, is equipped to fight viruses and germs? Add some bleach to water, soak a clean napkin in diluted bleach, and wipe off germs from common contact surfaces. Wipe off with hypo. Disinfect your home with hypo bleach always.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, in view of the COVID-19 pandemic we are currently challenged with, we at Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society enjoin all Muslims to adhere strictly to government directives geared towards stopping the spread of the virus. These measures include the stay-at-home order, washing of hands with soap and water, using hand sanitizers where water is not available, and other hygiene measures. We remind you all of the words of Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 195, which says, "And do not throw yourselves with your own hands into destruction." We also remind you of the hadith of the noble prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which says, "Do not cause harm or return harm." Please stay at home and stay safe with continuous dua. This message is from Project Itfine of Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society. Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society, from Allah to you, a light.
Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels. That sounds fun. From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy. Alright everybody, let's do this! To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds. You can do some amazing things. There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV, live it, love it.
The board, management, and the entire members of staff of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, are deeply saddened by the death of Nigeria's great patriot, Malam Abba Kyari, Chief of Staff to the President, and wish to commiserate with Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, members of the Federal Executive Council, the immediate family of the deceased, and his numerous friends over this irreparable loss. Indeed, Malam Abba Kyari has left a legacy of trust, loyalty, and strong commitment to the unity of the country. The nation has truly lost a patriot and a bridge builder who will be greatly missed. We pray that God admit him to Al-Jannatu Firdausi and grant his family, friends, and associates the fortitude to bear this great loss. Signed, Mohammed Nami, Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Cheetah International Hotel, pleasurable evolution you can't resist. A concept delivered. Cheetah International Hotel brings you face to face with an unimaginable experience you can't erase. You'll like to come again and again. One thing you will hate is to be told the story. Another thing you will love is to be part of the story. You are looking for where your gain equals the cost. Break even with Cheetah International Hotel with our world-class event center that is set to blow your mind away. A world-class arena equipped with top-notch facilities, syndicate bedrooms, hall 1, 2, and 3, underground basement hall, gallery, and many more. Located on plot 224, Solomon Law Way, Utako District, Abuja. For more information on your highly distinguished hotel services, call 081-007-1882 or 081-007-1883. Cheetah International Hotel, a place where your history and future is made.
Welcome back. The lockdown is still on, and one thing is certain: food banks will need to be refilled. While the federal government understands what citizens are going through, especially the vulnerable groups in the society during this lockdown as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is on its toes to keep the promise made. Ruth Aguele reports.
Food items stored up, ready for distribution. Another move by the federal government to bring a light of hope to residents in the FCT.
Seeing what has been happening for the past...
The presentation of palliatives by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to the FCT administration is part of efforts in carrying out the President's directive to ensure that the poor and vulnerable groups in the lockdown states benefit from the program.
We have just handed over rice now, 5 trucks of rice. Gesture by Mr. President Muhammad Buhari as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is what we have done today. We have carried out that directive by handing over this food relief to the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
For the FCT administration, these food items will go a long way for the beneficiaries whose demands keep increasing and will ensure a fair distribution for all categories of persons.
We have received so far 5 trucks of rice and 5 trucks again on the way, as we are made to understand. There are trucks of other grains, and there will be trucks of vegetable oil and tomato paste. So now it will be distributed, the same organogram we are using to distribute the palliatives of the Federal Capital Territory.
A hands up for those in their need at this time offers hope on many levels. A virus that has cast a bleak shadow, but a grim outlook may fade a bit when there is some fortification in the belly. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Kano State government has begun the distribution of foodstuff to less privileged as part of measures to cushion the effect of the lockdown order imposed to contain the spread of COVID-19. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, during the flag-off ceremony, disclosed that 50,000 households are targeted in the first batch of the exercise. Abdullahi Mustafa has details.
The assorted food items were sourced through donations from individuals and organizations in response to Kano State government's appeal for support to the less privileged. The first consignment is to be distributed to 50,000 households across the 44 local government areas of the state.
For each polling units, we have taken 4 poorest of the poor households. So this distribution.
Each household is to receive a 25-kilogram bag of rice, cooking oil, carton of spaghetti, and 2,000 naira. The items were handed over to local government representatives for onward distribution to the targeted beneficiaries. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
And as Kano State government lifts up the lockdown for 24 hours, residents troop out en masse to make last-minute purchase preparatory to the Ramadan fast. Fatima Sanusi Karaye reports that it was a beehive of activities in all the nook and cranny of the city.
The usual hustle and bustle that characterized the city of Kano is back again following the lifting of the lockdown for 24 hours. Heavy vehicular movement was witnessed at various streets as many make efforts to reach out to various destination points. Banks, ATMs, all chucked up with queues of people trying to get money to make last-minute purchases for the Ramadan. One basic thing people look out for is foodstuff, and so the popular Sabangari market was full to the brim with people making purchases.
This is very costly and everything now hard.
Everything high. Tomato, just little tomato, they say 400, 500, that you will use immediately and finish. Everything is high.
Observing the social distance and other precautionary measures today may not be feasible, as all that is on the mind of people is how to stockpile the essentials needed for the coming days of the lockdown. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force has distributed food items to some communities in both states to cushion the effects of coronavirus pandemic. Muazu Hassan reports that the gesture is part of activities marking the 56th anniversary of the force.
The beneficiaries of these palliative from the Nigerian Air Force are selected from the poorest of the poor families in the 2 communities of Gwalaga within Bauchi Metropolis and Durum Village, which happens to be the host community of the Nigerian Air Force Special Operation Command Bauchi.
This is not the first time we do outreach programs, but this was specifically targeted to palliative measures because of the situation in the country and the world at large. As Nigerian Air Force come brought something for us down, so we're really happy.
My husband is blind and ill. He does not go out, so these items are going to help us. We will abide by all COVID-19 preventive guidelines, and may Allah bring an end to the pandemic.
In Bauchi, Muaz Hassan, NTN News.
Supporting the national response to COVID-19 is now a priority, and the Nigerian Air Force is enhancing its aeromedical evacuation systems in response to the national health emergency. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
It's a matter of life and death for this patient being evacuated to the Nigerian Air Force C-130 cargo aircraft. Though a simulation, the NAF says it is not taking any chances, as this scenario could play out in real life if more cases of COVID-19 are confirmed.
In the past, we used to evacuate patients with these aircraft, but we didn't have stretchers and other life support equipment like we have them here today.
I'm in the Charlie 130, the C-130 Hercules cargo aircraft, which can carry anything from trucks to troops, but has now been converted to a mobile air hospital, so to speak, with a life support system, a ventilator for patients suspected of having COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Armed Forces of Nigeria, through the Directorate of Defense Media Operations, says it has destroyed compounds housing Boko Haram terrorists through its Air Task Force of Operation Lafiya Adole at Pulawa in Borno State. And troops of Operation Hadarindaji have neutralized more than 20 bandits at Zirimi local government area in Zamfara state. Unfortunately, 4 of the soldiers paid the ultimate price in the encounter. And in Lagos, the Nigerian Navy ship Bini has rescued a Beninois crew after its fishing vessel caught fire. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
Meanwhile, residents of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, have complied with government's directive of lockdown to prevent the spread of coronavirus pandemic in the state. Maimuna Gareba reports on the significant level of compliance to the stay-at-home order on day 1 of the 2-week lockdown.
Commercial Nerve Center of Maiduguri, the popular post office area. The place is now looking a shadow of itself, and this may not be unconnected to the 14 days lockdown due to COVID-19. Only vehicles on essential duty and those coming into Maiduguri with food items and fuel were allowed to ply the roads, with security operatives stationed at strategic locations to ensure strict compliance with the restriction order.
Official car went to my residence, brought me to the office, and now it's on its way to get some of our staff.
All shops were under lock and key, except a patent medicine shop near the state specialist hospital that was open and selling drugs.
People are coming from the hospital, general hospital here. As you can see, there is one patient here I want to settle.
Members of the civilian JTF and hunters were also on ground, assisting in checking arbitrary movement on major streets and around communities. To further ensure compliance with the directive, a monitoring team which comprised of 4 members of the state executive, security personnel, vigilantes, and members of the civilian JTF were going around the state capital, especially suburb areas, to enforce the lockdown.
The level of compliance is very encouraging, even though we have little challenges with uniformed men who use their uniform to violate the order.
While the city remains quiet and peaceful, the police town crier vehicle sensitizes the public on the preventive measures against the dreaded virus. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Still talking coronavirus, the Director General, National Council for Art and Culture, Olusegun Ranshawe, has called for the establishment of Neighborhood Forum, where authentic information about COVID-19 can be accessed easily across the states. The Director General made a call while presenting free face masks and hand sanitizers to media houses in Abuja. Oyinaya Kalwaka was there.
People are telling you that such thing does not exist. That is a risk factor.
Friday Oloko, a journalist, narrates his experience covering COVID-19. Same goes for journalists across the globe and in Nigeria under pressure as coronavirus news pours in consistently.
But most people don't know that there are also journalists are part of frontliners.
But the Director General National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Reshowe, thinks otherwise. He commended the media for getting information to the public despite the risk.
Why not journalists first? Most times we even forget that journalists are involved in this business. But no matter what good job you are doing, if it's not reported, nobody will ever hear about it. And nobody will know. And if the journalists are not feeling well, that means the nation is sick.
He appreciated the steps taken by President Muhammadu Buhari, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, NCDC, as well as religious and traditional rulers in curbing the virus.
So I want to appeal to all of us that we must bury our differences. This is a time of reality. We must come together and get ourselves where it should be.
Presenting the locally produced face masks and hand sanitizers to media houses, the DG noted that in less than 2 months, more than 100 containers of face masks have been shipped into the country. Oyinaya Kaloka, NTA News.
We now join Dalton in Lagos for more reports on Network News. Hello, Dalton.
Thank you, Kenneth. With the extension of deadline for the restriction of flights at the nation's airports, there is an urgency among airport operators to design a post-COVID-19 action plan. Michael Olaleye, who was at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, reports that an additional 300 British nationals were repatriated to London.
This is the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, the busiest airport in West Africa, now a shadow of itself. With the ambience around here, it is difficult to imagine that this facility handled more than 7 million passengers in 2019. In spite of the closure, there is still one flight available, a British Airways aircraft which conveyed more than 300 British citizens to the United Kingdom. It is the fourth flight since the British government injected £75 million to support repatriation of British citizens, their spouses and dependents. Although flight operations are on hold, bus collector services are being rendered as the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority is using this window to issue safety guidelines crucial to the post-COVID-19 era.
We do not just allow the airline operators to even go to sleep without having a contact with them. We are regularly having contact with them. We are issuing them circulars as to what to be doing now, even in this lockdown, particularly some trainings of their staff. And so the kind of maintenance that they carry out right at their base. And of course, due to our essential services personnel, they are allowed to come, so they are coming around to carry out some routine maintenance on the airplane.
The mandate before the sector is how to translate its robust plan into action for smooth operations once the pandemic is over. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Network News continues after the break.
So, you now want to pick my call?
Then bomb me where? Mommy of life. Mommy.
Where my car?
Mommy, now smart things remain.
If my car not ready for tomorrow, me and you go put leg inside one trouser. For lie.
What's my phone? Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Not got this phone, no.
All right, yes, ma. Hey, my girl,
Kini.
Mommy, no be you. Don't waste your credit. When I finish, I go call.
You call me. Me wear my middle name na credit. Where Glow they give me boku.
Glow and Mebo get 5 times your recharge to call all networks. Recharge with *555* pin hash.
This talk people. I beg give my phone make I go, Joe.
Talon so talk yen.
Wake up. Nothing can hold us down. Get up.
breakfast your day every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
The coronavirus pandemic has changed the way we see the world,
the way we work and interact with each other.
COVID-19 affects all of us.
To defeat this human challenge and protect our great country, Nigeria, we must listen to our health professionals.
Stay home. Wash your hands or sanitize. If you have symptoms,
contact the health authorities immediately.
Join the private sector coalition against COVID-19
by supporting any way you can.
Nothing is too small to make a difference. We can do it because we're strong and resilient.
Let's fight to defend our motherland, Nigeria, by working together.
And stay alive together.
We can stay
together.
Stay alive. Stay alive together.
Hello everyone, hope you are keeping safe by washing your hands with soap or using sanitizer. Stay at home. It's the responsible thing to do. And whilst you're at it, you can do anything to keep your body and your mind together. Grow a beard like me if you want to. But please, let's stay at home. It's the responsible thing to do.
Picture this, a culinary experience across northern Nigeria with exceptional women sharing exciting recipes from their community. Picture some of your favorite celebrities cooking, sharing knowledge, and enjoying iftar right on your TV screen. From miyan gauta, dashishi, miyan kubewa, and maleli, and other iconic dishes, then spice to life with the flavor of Maggi. You can stop salivating now. I'm Jamila Lowell, and you're welcome to Maggie Diaries Season 3.
Aggressive disease containment.
Now on lockdown.
It is one of the measures taken by the country.
How long is all this for? Scientists say that's the big question.
News that connects you globally, from the world to your home, with 4 leading news channels 24/7. Live breaking stories on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
In spite of the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, the Federation account gained 780.927 billion naira in March 2020, which represents a 34.3% increase over February collection. Henshaw Ogubike, Director of Information at the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, in a statement said the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, agreed to distribute 661.427 billion naira and transfer 119.550 billion naira to the excess oil revenue account. This brings the balance in the excess crude account to $72.221 million. The 780.926 billion naira generated comprised statutory revenue, value-added tax, VAT, and exchange gain, with a remarkable increase in taxes. Henshaw added that the April meeting was held through virtual conferencing in line with the social distancing campaign to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Meanwhile, the federal government has received the report of the disbursement of the second phase of the Abuja funds recovered in 2017. Solicitor General of the Federation and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, Dayo Abata, who received the report on behalf of the federal government, said openness and transparency will continue to be exhibited in the disbursement of the Abuja loot. Femi Okewo reports.
As part of the agreement that saw the release of the second batch of the Abuja loot to Nigeria, civil society organizations were to be commissioned to monitor the disbursement of the recovered loot. It is in this light that on the 1-year anniversary of the commencement of the second phase of disbursement, about 20 civil society organizations submitted their report to the federal government on the successes and problems in this phase of disbursement.
It is on the basis of this that we signed the Open Government Partnership and have continued to demonstrate commitment to its underlying principles, especially in the area of asset recoveries.
In view of the current lockdown occasioned by COVID-19, the report was presented through video conferencing, with the Federal Ministry of Justice being the hub, while the CSOs participated from their various centers.
As agreed in the tripartite agreement between the Nigerian government, the Switzerland government, and the World Bank, CSO monitoring was incorporated in that agreement.
The Federal Ministry of Justice is to study the report and make recommendations to the federal government on how to improve further disbursements. In Abuja, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
Sticking to the right attitude, experts have advised Nigerians is the best way to contain COVID-19. They were speaking on NTA's current affairs program, Moment for Thought, as they stressed government efforts and projections for a stable economy.
The effect of COVID-19 on our education is something we are going to reap in the future. We have to brace ourselves. We have to prepare, and not to pretend that it is only a health issue.
We have 3.5 trillion on the table from the CBN, 774 local governments, 1,000 jobs per local government. We're targeting employment. So I'm quite happy with that.
The program comes up tonight at 12 midnight on the network service of the NTA. Nigeria has secured the release of 60 of her nationals serving various jail terms in Tanzanian prisons. The Nigerians and Diaspora Commission, in a statement by its head of media and public relations, Abdul Rahman Balogun, says efforts are underway to secure the release of the remaining 13 Nigerians. The commission says most of the convicts were arrested for drug-related offences, while a few of the offences bordered on violation of immigration law. The statement added that arrangements are being made by the Nigerian Commission in Tanzania for the repatriation of the released prisoners. Nigeria had joined other countries in making a plea for amnesty for prisoners during this COVID-19 period. The Nigeria Immigration Service has extended the temporary suspension placed on processing of passports and migrant e-registration from 23rd April to 23rd May 2020. A statement by the Service Public Relations Officer DCI Sander James, however, indicates that the service will take advantage of the period to process all pending passport cases, and the public will be duly informed when they are ready for collection at the expiration of the restriction order. The service regrets any inconvenience caused by the general public within this period, while assuring Nigerians of its continued service. Another break at this time. Stay with us.
Go relive on GoTV. Welcome to GoTV's Relive Channels. This is a world of sports where you can relive the best sports moments on GoTV.
She does! Oh, he's got it too! Back into the right. Oh, they've got another one! Oh, see! Really is that like
Go relive the most epic stories in sports on GoTV from our Relive channels on SuperSport on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Today is World Book and Copyright Day. This year, it is coming at a time when the world can ill afford to celebrate because of the coronavirus. In a statement, the Director General of the Nigerian Copyright Commission, John Hussein, says the Commission has stepped up its campaign against book piracy and other copyright abuses so as to guarantee return on investment. The DG further explained that at this time, more authors will use their brains to write books, as virtually every country is compelled to impose restrictions on travels and mobility. Physical isolation and social distancing become the norm, and humanity is traumatized by these pestilence. The only solace people can find is in books, and that is why the Commission is committed to the copyright protection. The theme for the World Book Day is Read, Grow Wings, and Travel. President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled former Governor of Borno State Ali Modu Sharif over the death of his father, Galadima Modu Sharif. The President also extends heartfelt commiseration to Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State, the family of Sharif, the Sheikh of Borno, and the entire Borno Emirate Council on the passing of their illustrious son and community leader, loved and respected by his people. The late Galadima of Borno Emirate, the President, will describe the death of his in-law and father-in-law to Halima, his daughter, as a personal loss to him. Praise Almighty Allah to grant the soul of the departed eternal rest. The President appeals to family, friends and relatives who mourn the deceased in the midst of the present challenges facing the country to please maintain social distancing, keep safe and healthy. And just before we go, let's check weather for Friday in Nigeria and other cities of the world. We'd like to thank you for watching NTA Networks tonight. Of course, stay safe, stay at home, and of course, good night.